After an entire season of wondering, we're finally seeing King's backstory. And honestly, it's a lot more confusing than I ever thought it would be. This episode leaves me with a lot more questions than answers, but although King's lore clearly isn't complete yet, we've got a lot to speculate on. You're watching Whitney Vision, and this is our breakdown of Echoes of the Past. Before we get started, I want to let you know about our Patreon. Stickers just went out and Polaroids will be sent out soon. So if you want to get in on the fun, check out the link in the description box to see if any of our donation tiers work for you. This is your spoiler warning! If you haven't watched Season 2, Episode 3 yet, hit pause on this video and come back after you've deactivated John Luke. Now, onto the Owl House. Because there is no Lumity action in this one, we're starting this video up top with how adorable sweet little baby Bean King was! Look at that little face! If you don't want to kiss that sweet little face right now, I need you to get out of my life. I started physically sobbing when I saw Baby King. You can ask Brett, he was making fun of me. I would die for Baby King, and this is officially a Baby King stan channel. Nothing else matters, he is the king of my heart forever and always. Okay, we'll talk about the actual episode. First of all, Holy Titan, we've got a new spell! Thanks to Ida and Lilith realizing last episode that glyphs could be combined to create new spells, our girl Luz has been working hard to teach herself new magic. After a few scribbled tries, Luz figures out how to turn herself temporarily invisible, and even though so far the spell only lasts as long as she can hold her breath, she literally just drew her own spell. That's bonkers! And it definitely makes me wonder, is invisibility the first spell she's tried to create herself? She did say she's been experimenting. According to all the scrapped ideas pinned around her study area, she did try multiple iterations of this particular spell before successfully creating this one. The first thing I thought when I saw it is that it looks like a diagram of an atom's electrons from chemistry class, which tells me that there's a certain science to combining these elements. It looks like the actual combo of glyphs for the invisibility spell was kept simplistic for the animators, so we don't know which 3 glyphs actually produce this invisibility. From Luz's notebook, we know that her research has led to her deconstructing that the light glyph has aspects of power, reflection, and color, meaning that the light glyph will likely be key to illusory spells like invisibility, but also possibly magnifying the strength of other spells. As for the light glyph being key to invisibility, that makes a ton of sense. What we see is based off how light waves reflect off of matter and into the rods and cones of our eyeballs, which decode said waves to produce our vision. So, to create invisibility, you have to manipulate light in a manner that disrupts this process, either by physically bending light waves around the user, or by turning the user's matter so transparent that light passes through them unchanged. If the latter is the case, I could see an ice glyph being used somewhere in this combo for its crystal clear attributes. But despite this amazing advancement in glyph magic, King is feeling left out and neglected. He encourages Luz, Lilith, and Hooty to take a break from studying to join him on an adventure to visit his former castle, where he reigned supreme as the king of demons. Luz is just humoring him, assuming that his backstory is an elaborate attempt on making himself seem important to those around him. Lilith, on the other hand, agrees to go in order to study King's home for scholarly historical purposes. According to her, demons had never been united before Belos' reign, and therefore there was no such thing as the king of demons. And Hooty is just kind of along for the ride with his new BFF. Side quest, can we talk about how hilarious it is that King thinks they're only friends because Hooty is blackmailing Lilith? Also, the fact that he can somehow leave his innards behind at the Owl House while shoving his meat tube into a lunchbox is beyond disturbing. My second favorite horror aspect of this episode. The crew sets off, leaving Ida behind to indulge in a spa day. What's interesting to me is that when she realizes that they're gone, she says, "Not again," like this has happened before. Has she had to stop King from returning home before now? After traveling for hours, they finally reach King's castle, and to Lilith's surprise, she has no idea where they are and has never heard of this location. She even says, "This island shouldn't be here, it's not on any of the maps." This could mean one of two things. Either Emperor Belos gave her limited information about the geography of the Boiling Isles, or this really is a secret spot. Given the fact that it's hours away by flight, I wonder if this little island is even part of the Titan, or if it's far away from the BI. Does Belos even know this place exists? And if he does, why doesn't the historical scholar of the Emperor's Coven know about it? Honestly, I feel like all of those questions only lead to more questions for me. What Belos knows or doesn't know about this place could mean a lot of different things. The island itself is shaped like a caldera with a vertical monolith in the center. Within the basin is a thick forest of vegetation, making it impossible to land closer to the castle itself. King recalls waking up on this beach in Ida's arms, but believes it happened after he was shrunk by an evil force and stripped of his powers. Interestingly, the door to his castle is shaped like a keyhole, the significance of which we'll get back to a little later on in this video. It's also completely blocked by stones, as if someone was trying to keep someone or something inside or out of the castle. Lilith proclaims that the symbols found near the entrance predate any language she knows, and that the carvings themselves are made out of a strange material, adding to the mysterious vibes this place is throwing off. Upon entering, there's another circular symbol above the keyhole door, which also reminds me yet again of a chemical bond. After brightening the image, it also has grooves similar to the symbol Lilith finds and the one we see later atop the castle. Around the center symbol, circles are sprinkled along the longitudinal and latitudinal lines crossing the symbol. Several of those graph points have stars instead of circles, and it almost looks like a celestial map of some sort, with planets and stars aligning in a particular order. It's clear that a bunch of imagery in this temple is of stellar or astral importance. I did some research, and the symbol of a circle with the dot in the center is an ancient symbol most often representing the sun. There's also an ancient Arabic symbol called the Nazar, which features a circle with several smaller concentric circles and a dot in the middle, similar to the one above the door. A Nazar is said to ward off the evil eye, and the word itself derives from the Arabic words for sight, attention, and surveillance. We know that the portal door has an eye on it, so perhaps this is foreshadowing? Is there something about King's past that could protect them from Belos's all-seeing eyes? The castle also features several other carvings, including those depicting what we've come to know as the King of Demons. This drawing looks very similar to the one featured in the end credits that shows King sitting on a log with his back turned to what we all presumed was his King of Demons form. In this pictograph, the King of Demons has a skull that looks both like King's and kind of like the titans that the Boiling Isles are made of. He also has a furry cape, spiked shoulder pads, and a long white beard. All around him are hands reaching skyward, but it's unclear if they're the hands of those he has conquered or of his supportive subjects. Additionally, I've noticed that there's a circle directly behind this figure, and it might be a coincidence, but the placement of the horn on the left gives the illusion of an eclipse. Could this be another celestial hint? There also is either a moon or eclipse image seen later in the room King hatched in. I also think this tableau is evidence that King is in fact part Titan. In a larger mural, we see the King of Demons battling a larger monster, or even possibly a Titan. He's wearing the same fur and spiked shoulder adornments, but this time we can also see his tunic, which features a symbol that looks kind of like an eyeball to me. The beast he's fighting is breathing fire, and it looks to be holding a staff or wand of some kind. However, the top of the staff isn't visible due to being chipped away, so it's likely that Dana & Co. omitted this detail to get us theorizing. My best guess is that this staff might be linked to the Bat Queen's origins. Also, we know from Ida's curse that witches can transform into monstrous forms, so could this dragon-esque challenger be a superpowered witch bent on destruction? There's also a big comet overhead, and while hard to see, it appears to be a big part of this mural. My guess is that this comet probably passes by once every few decades or centuries or millennia, and it enhances magic exponentially. If that's the case, this comet is likely linked to the Day of Unity that Belos is preparing for, and he might have used its previous passing to rise to power. Like the door to the castle itself, the hole in the ceiling leading to the throne room at the top of the monolith is completely blocked off with rocks. After detonating an explosive potion bomb, Ida, Luz, Lilith, Hooty, and King fly up through a cylindrical chamber. Inside the cylinder are more drawings, this time primarily of compasses and winding lines. Now, we know that these aren't any glyphs that we're familiar with, and it has been hinted that we've seen all or most glyphs in existence. But part of me is wondering if these symbols code out a spell in a similar manner as the other glyph combos we've seen. If size and positioning is key to developing advanced spells, could a massive structure like this be needed for an incredibly complex spell? Picture this. Either a rare eclipse or a magic comet passes by this temple, its light is focused through the skylight like a lens hitting the solar panel in the throne room, which then activates the circuit and funnels power down this chamber, activating the glyphs along the way until it passes into the main room and empowers whoever is below. Is that how we're getting buff Kaiju King? Also, it looks like the chamber used to be lined with ledges that potentially held something of importance. We did see that chamber earlier of decommissioned rock guardians, so my first guess is that there used to be little guys perched here to guard the throne room. Or maybe each ledge held a magic artifact that was stolen when the castle was attacked when King was a baby. Once inside, the walls are lined with drawings of multiple rock guardians, and Lilith deduces that they were likely created to guard whatever was in this throne room, aka King or his ancestors before him. In the center of the room is a golden platform encrypted with that same circular symbol Lilith found near the entrance. Atop it lies several fragments of shattered egg, presumably the one that King hatched out of. King later sketches it onto his dog tags, wondering if it's his real name in an ancient language. King says that the roar he heard before he hatched meant sun, but with everything about this temple, I'm curious if that it was actually S-U-N sun and not S-O-N sun. We find out from Ida's flashbacks from the day she rescued King that he wasn't the King of Demons at all, but rather a little guy she found running around the ruins of the castle. King's primary hobby in those days was stacking rocks on top of one another to create little formations that look like the Rock Guardians. It's unclear why King seems so predisposed to making these guys, but it definitely seems like building them is part of his natural instincts. The castle ruins were full of other deactivated bodies of rock guardians, so it's possible that the real King of Demons, King's dad, also built them and infused them with his magic to form a protective army. They also figure out that the Rock Guardians were guarding King the entire time. When Eda initially got chased out of the castle, she assumed that the Guardian was trying to kill her and King. In reality, they were protecting King from intruders, and now that he's back, Jean-Luc is doing the same. King replaces his broken horn, saved by Eda all these years, and manages to tap into some of his real core memories. Although she planted the idea in his head that he was once a mighty ruler with an army of devoted minions who feasted on great banquets and made his enemies tremble in fear, the reality is that he was just a little baby on his own when she found him. He remembers being somewhat aware of a commotion going on outside of his egg, but he was still growing and couldn't do anything about it. When he finally hatched out of the egg, the Rock Guardians scooped him up and fell with him down the cylindrical chamber leading to the throne room. This is why King remembers falling as one of his first memories. It actually happened, just not in the way he was initially led to believe. The falling wasn't a symptom of him shrinking or getting defeated. The Rock Guardian removed him from that room for a reason, perhaps to protect him better on the main floor of the castle. Despite it being years since Eda adopted King, he still believes that there's a chance his father is out there, and Luz vows to do whatever she can to help reunite him with his family. The question here is King's dad really still alive? And if so, where is he? Now that we know of King's dad's existence, this changes his title to Prince of Demons, meaning that if they do manage to reunite him with his long-lost father, he'll have a new role to step into. Obviously, his priority is being the king of Luz's heart, but Prince of Demons has a nice ring to it. I don't know about you guys, but this hidden secret island with King as the last of his kind roaming the ruins alone really reminded me of when Catra discovered Milog after she and the Best Friend Squad explored the destroyed planet of Krytus and Shira. What if something similar happened to King's home? What if Belos destroyed this place, knowing that it and the King of Demons were too powerful? What if, like Milog, King is the sole survivor of an attack that wiped out everyone else on the island? Perhaps Belos doesn't want others to know about this place, and that's why Lilith is so surprised that she's never heard of it or seen it on any maps. And based on both King saying that the island always shows up when he tries to find it, and Eda saying that the island appeared to her when she needed to escape the Emperor in the Boiling Rains, I think we might also have a Room of Requirements situation on our hands. Maybe King's dad, or even Belos himself, bewitched the island to make it so that no one could find it unless they needed to find it. If the King of Demons was attacked and his kingdom destroyed, how did King survive? Did the Guardians keep him alive as their sworn duty? Or was his survival an oversight on those seeking to wipe out the castle? And how do these Guardians work exactly? How do they come to life after starting off as stacked rocks? Interestingly, the way that they're held together looks a lot like the sinewy limbs that Belos created to attack Luz, Lilith, and King in Youngblood Old Souls, and the basis for the magic that the Golden Guard uses to construct a sword in separate tides. Is the same magic being used here to animate the Guardians and hold their bodies together? Did Belos learn that magic from the inhabitants of this castle? Was this the King of Demons magic to begin with? If King can control Jean-Luc, can he possibly strengthen his magic to nullify and control Belos' magic? I have so many questions! Finally, let's talk about this week's secret code. As a reminder, the first 2 weeks' secret codes were Seething Seas, and this week's code follows that up with the word "and," hidden in the flashback scene. So we have Seething Seas and what? This week, a few more episode titles for Season 2 came out, so now we have more of the acrostic code as well. Last week, I mentioned that the code spelled Seek the K. We now know through announced episodes that the updated code reads Seek the Key, F-E-A. What do you think the rest of that word could be? Fear? Feathers? Feast? Right now, I'm kind of leaning towards fear, because dear God, the horror elements were on point in this episode. I might never recover from watching Jean-Luc's head spin around like The Exorcist. Also, to circle back to the key of it all, I'm curious if the keyhole to King's Temple is the actual key being sought after, and not the key to the dimensional doorway that Belos is rebuilding. Is it possible that these artifacts are linked to King's Temple? What if the temple is actually a giant doorway between worlds that activates during the Day of Unity? Like I said earlier, this episode left me with so many more questions than answers about King's backstory, the Day of Unity, and whether or not his dad is tied to Belos in some way. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more Owl House breakdowns. I'm Scarlet Wit, and you're watching Whitney Vision.